Hey everyone, welcome to Marketing for Designers podcast. I'm your host, Masha Coyne, a messaging strategist and a copywriter for the interior design industry. I've been marketing for what feels like forever in my past career at some of the biggest global firms like KPMG and Deloitte. Today, I write website copy for designers using my signature voice of customer framework. If you're a designer looking to up your marketing game and attract premium clients, this podcast is for you. Each week on the show, we're going to be talking all things marketing, from branding to messaging to social media, SEO, and so much more, so you can have all the tools you need to grow your business and attract your dream clients. Welcome back to Marketing for Designers podcast. So if you've been listening for a while, first of all, thank you so much. But if you've been listening for this podcast, you know that I bring marketing experts on the show and business coaches. And we tackle some pretty interesting topics that help you market your interior design business. Today, though, I am excited to introduce you to an interior designer who's doing some really cool things with her business. And I can't wait till she shares all of this with you. With that, I want to introduce you to Emily Yeates. So Emily of Urban Revival began designing over 15 years ago, inspired by her family's background in luxury real estate. With remarkable projects and record-breaking sales, she has been named by Luxe magazine as one of the most promising designers in the country. Her work has been featured in Architectural Digest, Domino, My Domain, and many more. Driven by a desire for mentorship, Emily dedicates herself to helping designers overcome obstacles and accelerate their success, offering unique guidance to those feeling overwhelmed in their design businesses. Emily, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. This is fun.
I know. I'm so excited to talk to you. Well, there's so much I want to ask you. I know you have a mentorship program that we will talk about. I know that you've got in-house marketing team. You've invested heavily in your business by hiring a personal branding coach. You were successful at changing your brand positioning and how you're perceived by ideal clients. So perhaps let's start there. Tell me about what Urban Revival was and what it is now because of all of your efforts that you've invested in it.
Okay, fabulous question. So Urban Revival, so I've been doing design for over 15 years, but Urban Revival kind of came about maybe, 7 years ago now. Maybe a little longer, because I was really wanting to, just make design my whole life. And the simplest way for me to do that I thought was for me to start buying and remodeling, kind of flipping homes. And because that was kind of the world my family was in, it was really easy for me to kind of jump right in. And back then houses were much more affordable. And so I started buying and designing and remodeling these homes. And that's kind of how I started attracting builder clients. They knew I was a designer and really good at looking at ROI and figuring out the best things to do that aren't too expensive. And so I started getting more and more builder clients that way. And and then when I would get those clients, I would sell them on, since I'm designing the home, why don't you let me stage the home? And so I started then staging homes. That was the hardest I'd ever worked for the least amount of money, but I was getting portfolio photos. And that's when I started kind of tapping into wholesale furniture. And my whole world blew open at that point, and realizing the income potential I had in selling furniture was so much greater than staging, and flipping homes was a nightmare. I didn't want to do that anymore. So I kind of was all right, this is where I am now, but I knew where I could go. And I just really was I'm going to start hiring people to help me get there, because I'm too busy in my day-to-day already currently to really focus on how to get there. And I'm not a marketer. So I started hiring out and getting good coaches, good advice, and putting a plan in place.
That's awesome. So tell me just a couple of first things that you've done when you started hiring. Was it your marketing team, or was it the coach first and then the coach recommended doing that? What was the order of these different decisions?
Okay, so this was probably back in like 2021, early 2021, maybe. I had listened to a podcast. There was a branding coach on there, Rachel Johansson. She's amazing. And I just, everything she was talking about was like, yes, yes, this is what I want. This is what I want. And she pretty much helps people reposition themselves in the marketplace they're already in. And some of the feedback I was getting from, uh, just like previous clients was that like, oh, you're such a great deal. Like you're such a good value. And I was like, ew, like, no, I want to be like a really, really good designer, like, the best you worked with. And not just like that I was like cheap and affordable. And so like I was like, I got to step up my game. I don't want people talking about me this way. I want them talking about me in a different way and liking me for different reasons. And so I hired her. But just before I had hired her, I had hired like an operations manager. Kind of like as I got into wholesale furnishing more, we were just dealing with way more money. And like I needed someone on the back business side to help me kind of keep up with all the incoming client calls and everything that was going on. Which we can talk about incoming client calls because at the time I was getting, I think if I look back on my numbers, like 61 calls a year, like potential client calls. And they were not good, like they weren't good calls. Like they were a giant waste of time. Like most of them were a giant waste of time.
And you kind of figured that during the discovery call situation, like you already knew?
Like during the call, I'd be like, okay, this is not the right client.
Right.
Like I've got to finish this, be kind, kind of that sort of thing. So that's why I had hired someone to start taking those calls for me. And then we met with Rachel and she really did a deep dive into my business and things I could change and do differently to be able to reposition myself in the marketplace. And she connected me with a website developer who helped me change my website. And from then on out, like we get way fewer calls, but they're the right calls. And so we're no longer attracting the wrong people, right? We're attracting the right people.
Which is like the goal. Yeah. And so you've hired a coach, you've hired Rachel, you repositioned your business, and it looks like you got super clear in terms of who your audience is, who do you want to attract. Yeah. And then you changed the messaging on your website, by the way, if anybody wants to check it out. It's so awesome. It looks so beautiful, so chic. And what do you think has changed that made you start attract the right type of client? What was that shift that was recommended by Rachel and by your other efforts, and the fact that you started pre-qualifying all the calls that are coming in?
Okay, so I think it was really about getting very, very specific on who I was and who I wanted to work with, and I think I needed someone's outside perspective. Like I knew who I was deep down. I didn't know if people saw me that way. And I also didn't really know how to communicate it that way. Like I'm a very visual person. Words are really hard for me, but like I can show you who I am, but like I can't really tell you who I am. And so I really needed that outside perspective to say, well, this is what I see. And it's like, oh, really? Okay, that's amazing. I'm happy you see that. Okay, let's put that into words. I really needed help doing that. And so just becoming very, very clear on who I am, who my clients are, and the wording, getting all that, the copy on our website. Like it's something that I can just spill off my tongue. I'm very confident in that. It just really changed how I speak to potential clients and kind of, the image I put out there.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I love that you were able to successfully change the perception of how your clients now view you, your brand. I wonder, tell me about what does your marketing look like now? And you can talk about like some of the successful marketing initiatives that you create, or maybe what platforms do you invest in or dedicate your time to? What does that look like on the back end of things?
So I feel like we're just barely in the beginning phases of a lot of like trying different marketing things. We're like our interior design side of the business is like 100% referral, like maybe 99% referral. We might get one person off of social media a year, but now we're starting to see that shift, considering that we've been doing a lot more like Facebook ads, Instagram ads. I'm seeing how that might not always be the case, right? It was for a long, long time in the business. I'm very proud of that, but I'm wanting to market to different audiences for different things. So what we've been doing the last few years is I was really looking for someone to handle my social media content, but I wanted them to like have more ownership than the previous people I had hired to do my social media content. And I realized when you hire someone that's doing like 20 different people's social media content, like they can only do so much for you, right? And so I was like, man, I really would love to find someone that could be on my team. And maybe they have other skills since I don't need someone like on social media constantly, right? And my one of my best friends was telling me about her sister-in-law who was a videographer and a photographer and is also just has a really good design eye. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, maybe I can hire her full time to do our social media and photograph our projects. And but she just so happened to live in New York City and I'm in Arizona. But I knew I could like totally work around that. And so she started out doing like all of our blogs and newsletters, and which like those two things we don't hit hard on, but she was doing all our social media content, like our TikToks and then the girl I had that was doing all of our ordering, and like tracking logistics, install scheduling stuff. She went to law school. So Jenny, our marketer, took over her role as well. And so I am really lucky to have like a marketer on my team that can do a lot of different things. And so we fly her in when we've got a bunch of projects kind of wrapped up and we schedule a bunch of photography sessions at all those places over like a 3-day period of time. So I'm lucky to have someone on my team that is able to do lots of other things.
It sounds like a dream having that kind of person in-house, honestly, for anyone,
Yeah.
not just interior designers, but for any type of industry. Sounds amazing. Tell me something. I feel like that's a challenge for a lot of interior designers when they are looking to hire somebody, especially for social media, because on social media, you want to kind of show up as yourself. You want to be authentic. Mm-hmm. How do you outsource, let go of that control? How do you trust Jenny to capture the brand voice of your company, of you, and it showing up kind of organically and authentically, as you?
Yeah. Well, I just got really lucky. She is really talented and she did her homework, right? Like, what do I want to sound like? What is my personality like? And she does a really great job of coming through in a really like authentic way to me. Like when I'm like, I don't even think she really asks for my approval on anything. Like whatever she does, I'm like, spot on, you hit it. She's just like, I was looking for someone who was young, knew social media, knew the messaging that needed to go out, and understands like that world that I didn't grow up in, right? But she grew up in it, she understands it, and she's smart. And so
amazing.
I got lucky. So
very cool. Very cool. So it sounds like you do all kinds of things. You show up regular on social media. You've got blogs. You've done Facebook ads, Instagram ads. Anything that was very effective? Was there one specific strategy that you find consistently works time after time for your business, to promote your business? And maybe we can talk about your second arm of business, the mentorship program. Maybe it's the marketing for that part of your business.
Yeah. So I think the thing that has worked the best, like for my interior design side of the business, with clients is really like in-person events, like just face-to-face networking. I throw events at my house. I help nonprofits throw events, like I'm on auxiliary boards. I just make sure my face is always out there and that I am networking with people in a genuine way. Like I don't think, oh, I'm going to go network. It's like, no, I want to go hang out with people. Like I want to go meet people. I want to get to know people. I want to spend time with people. And that has helped my interior design side grow a lot. And then I just make sure socially that I've got street cred, that I'm constantly on top of people's minds so that when they hear of someone needing services, they recommend me. So that's why I think the social media side's been very, very important, is just keeping me top of mind of all the people that I do know locally. And then when I started my mentorship program for interior designers, I only know maybe 50 designers personally, maybe less than that. I don't know. But I knew that I was going to have to take my marketing like broader and more on social media and run ads more for that. And so we have been marketing that side of the business way, way different. And it's kind of a new thing for me in the last like 4 months of marketing that way. But we did start out marketing it with in-person like happy hours at my house and getting a large group of designers in my home. I do feel like I'm most successful that way, face to face, talking with people, telling stories that I might not necessarily want to tell on social media. So, and then speaking at events. Like it's been really cool to be asked to go speak at events and have stories to share and being vulnerable and not, I'm totally open. I'm willing to share stories.
Oh, I love that. I love that you're so intentional about it. And there are so many questions that I already want to ask you, but let's talk about your mentorship program. I want to know, tell me about that mentorship program and tell me about what inspired you to create it.
I think like since I started out in like the flipping business and the staging business and like honestly kind of that time frame of like doing all the DIY projects, I was probably always pretty approachable. Like I did not go to school for this. Like I just have started from like the bottom. And so people have always kind of approached me, how do I get into this? How do I start getting clients? Asking me advice, asking me to coffee. And I loved it. Like it's one of my favorite things is to mentor designers or teach them little things I've learned. And it just, I'll always do that. But I just was like, this isn't enough. Like I can't sit down with you over coffee and kind of give you enough. But I love teaching and I felt like in my business, I had just kind of gotten it like exactly where I wanted it. Exactly, as big as I wanted it, as small as I wanted. Like it was just perfect. And I would have loved to my whole design career to have had someone offer something like this for me. And so I just started putting together. I originally thought, I want to take designers to the wholesale furniture market, like those who are too intimidated to go or feel like too much imposter syndrome, because that was a really big turning point for me, was figuring out wholesale furniture. So I originally thought, I'm just going to take them to market and show them that. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to show them this, I might as well show them how I do this. And if I'm going to show them that, I might as well show them how I'm going to do this. So pretty much I put together an entire like business platform for designers to take and implement themselves from the start of when you get an incoming client call. How do you take that call? What do you ask them? What do you share with them? To what does your proposal look like? Here's what's in our contract. Take it and do with it what you please. This is how we've handled this situation. This is how we structure this. These are our project timelines. This is how I come up with pricing. Like everything, start to finish. I put it together in a nice little box for people to take it and do it themselves, because I span my wheels for so many years, just trying all of these things that didn't work, and feel like the things I have now, even my very, very experienced designer friends will tell me stories of things they're dealing with. And I'm like, oh, you don't have to deal with that if you just did this, but it's kind of like you need the whole you need to start here and follow the steps. You can't just implement one little thing, right? So
That's right.
it kind of,
I love that. I love that you are kind of like, you're letting designers peek under the hood of your business and kind of giving them all the tools and all the things that they need to do what you do so effectively. Tell me, how does the whole high point market fits into this? From what I understand from our previous conversations, you take designers to market, and basically, what happens there?
Yeah. So, well, we've up to this point been going to mostly Dallas and Vegas markets, and Vegas is my favorite. I think we're going to focus there a majority of the time, but we pretty much arrive. I give them an overview of what we're going to be tackling over the next few days, and we go through every step of my business process while we are visiting showrooms and vendors, and they're meeting the vendors who have helped me grow my business the most, and showing them what products have been like tried and true for me. And so they're getting like a total peek inside of what it looks like to create those relationships, how they're going to help, how my vendors are going to help them, cultivate their businesses, and the right questions they need to ask. And it's all about, profit and making clients happy. So just, we discuss on every level, everything I do in my business. And so it's just really fun, because honestly, the first night, every designer is in like pure panic mode of like, this, my clients are different than yours. This would never work for me. You have better clients, you have bigger budgets. And it's like over time, they're able to see, no, my clients are the same as theirs. Like, the celebrity clients are not the good clients. Like, it's the everyday people that are your good, true, tried and true clients that are going to help you grow your business. And by the end, it's like that huge sigh of relief, like, oh, I get it. I get it. Like, this is going to be amazing. I can't wait to go home and change everything. They're already on their websites at night changing stuff. And so it's just a intense program.
Wow, that's amazing. But the cool thing about it, I feel like, is that they're right there with you. You're able to address their questions. You're able to show them. But at the same time, they're not only learning, they're also implementing right away, which is so cool. I feel like that's where learning is most effective. You're not just learning and kind of consuming information, but when you're actually doing, like, you actually learn by doing and implementing. But there's someone like you who's helping them along the way and kind of holding their hand the entire time. So cool. I want to go back for a second to when you repositioned kind of your business, your brand. How did working with a personal branding coach help you shift the perception of how your business is viewed? Like, what are some of the things that you had to do? What was maybe some of the hardest things that you had to do?
The hardest things. So I think this actually wasn't hard for me at the time, but a lot of people, like a lot of designers that I've talked to since, I've noticed this is a very, very hard thing for them, is taking the risk. Like, realizing this is going to be expensive. Like, I'm investing in myself. Because at the beginning of that year, I had seen what I had done the previous year, and I was like, man, I killed it. I'm so proud of myself. Like, I could finally see the light at the end of the tunnel, that like I was going to have a business, a real business, not just like a side cute hobby that I was making money in, right? Like, this was a legitimate business. I had decided that whole next year, like, I'm going to invest in my business. I'm going to invest in myself. I believe in myself. So I don't care if I don't take home that much money. Like, my husband had a good job. I was in a really fortunate position to say, like, I could take that risk, right? I'm going to spend the money. I'm going to invest in myself. And so I did, like, and it paid off like instantaneously. And so I took home way more money than that year than the year before. And I was prepared to take home none, So like, I think just having that mindset of like, no, I'm intentionally growing. Like, I'm going to take a risk and invest in myself, and I'm going to intentionally grow. And that was like my goal for the year. And so that was my focus, and it just paid off every single step I took in investing and spending the money to hire a branding photographer, right? redo my
Mm-hmm.
website, hire a coach and do exactly what she says to do. Like not just spend the money and not implement it. I had to hire people to help me implement things because I didn't have the time.
Have you ever invested in these kind of professionals before this pivotal moment in 2021? I guess where I'm going with this is that, we've all invested in different professionals. We've all bought courses and
Right.
did things, but maybe we never did anything with that. I'm wondering what's changed. Why did you all of a sudden decide to take your brand a lot more serious, I guess, and more intentional?
Yeah. So, this is the exact reason was, um, so I come from like, I'm one of four, I have four brothers. Like, I'm the only girl. My dad is a very, very successful businessman. His brothers are all very, very successful businessmen. And like, I love business. And I just like always loved picking their brains, especially my dad's. Like, I go to him first for advice, like always. And he was in a different business world than I was in. So like, he'd help me, but he didn't know a lot of what to even where to even guide me. And so I like kind of after picking enough like businessmen's perspectives that I like knew, I realized like they don't quite understand like what I am trying to do. And the advice I was kind of getting was like, oh, you're doing great, honey. Like you're doing great. And it's like, no, 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 no. Like I need actual implementable things to do, steps to take. Like I want to grow this. And so I was like, I'm searching out the women. Like I'm searching out the women who are in this field that can really understand where I'm coming from, where I'm wanting to go, what I want to do. And so that was kind of that like spark of, you know, search out women in your industry. And so I was listening to podcasts and trying to find those people. And that's kind of how I first found Rachel. And like that kind of sparked my journey, into growing.
I like that. That's such an interesting perspective. I absolutely love that. Um, Emily, what advice would you give to interior designers that may be in a similar situation in that pivotal moment where maybe something is shifting in their business? Maybe they're wanting to pivot as far as the audience that they want to attract. What advice would you give them in terms of what are some of the things that they should consider? Maybe it's the type of investments, or maybe it's the type of things that they should be doing first. Where should they start?
Oh, wow. That's a big one. Where should they start? I, I think, the biggest thing I've come across with designers is they're usually incredible designers. Like they can design all day long. Their confidence is not there. So whatever you got to do to go get your confidence, whether it's a business coach or, a branding session, like I don't know what it is where your confidence is not coming from. But you've got to go get it some way, somehow. You've got to work with someone that maybe has the confidence that you want to have and figure out how did they go get that confidence. And it's usually gained through having mentors that can shift the perspective on how to view certain situations. I think as women, we're such people pleasers, and we really want our clients to like us. We really want them to refer us. And sometimes we do things that put our businesses in not great positions, right? And our families. And so just finding that confidence to know you're a business owner and this is not a hobby. It's not a cute hobby. This is a real life business and you need to make money. That you can then have some perspective shifts to go get that confidence to go out and do what you want to do.
It sounds like you've always had that confidence, though. Do you think, or was there something that kind of helped you boost it? Was it by hiring a business coach, or was there some other things that you've done that kind of made you like, hey, this is me. This is how I show up. This is what I do. This is the type of audience I'm after.
I had the confidence. I didn't know how to put it into words. And I also just needed I needed a little more help. I'm a creative. Like I fly up here. I like, in the clouds. I fly in the clouds. I know what I want to do. I don't have like the detail people. I didn't have the details people underneath me. And I kept hiring designers, like thinking, oh, I just need a little more help with design so I can go out and get more business. Not realizing like, no, I don't need more designers. I don't need more people that think like me. I need people that don't think like me. I need, to kind of get that full circle of everything I needed to be super confident about my company. Like I'm confident about what I can do, but I wanted to make sure I was confident in every aspect of our business and our deliverables. And so like, yeah, I didn't have confidence in some areas because I didn't go to school. Like I had imposter syndrome for a very, very long time that I really needed to go to school to be able to be where I wanted to be. And really, I'm glad I got over that at some point, that I didn't need to go do that. I really just needed to invest in some things and get some mentoring and some coaching, and then I could get where I wanted to go. So
such an important thing that you just said, that it's like identifying where do you need that support, and it's not the design, but it is the operations and the doing of things. When you were doing your first kind of hires with Jenny as your marketing person, were there a specific set of skills that you were looking for? Was there like a personality match that you were looking for? What was it? Or is that a combination of things?
Well, I was just telling my friend, like, hey, man, I really need help. I wish I had someone who was young, who grew up with a phone in front of their face, who understands just how to quickly make a video and understands how he can quickly write up a newsletter. Like I don't need to walk them through anything. I wanted someone who was like a go-getter, but had a good design eye. And she just mentioned her sister-in-law. And I remember following her on social media, and she was doing little DIY projects in her house, kind of renovating her house. And making cute little videos. And so I just kind of liked her. She reminded me of when I was young, like doing those little projects. And so I'm not like detailed enough to like write down what am I looking for. I just kind of can envision the person in my mind. And thankfully I was connected with someone pretty easily. But I found someone that I liked what they were already doing.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Emily, you've built a very strong reputation in this industry. I'm wondering, how do you balance marketing yourself as the Emily, as a designer and as a mentor? How do you balance those two? Do you put out like different marketing messages, or do you not worry about that?
It's really hard. I originally was really worried about marketing myself as a mentor on my like design platforms, right? Like I don't really want to talk about revenue and profit and stuff on my design platform in front of my clients. I don't know why I was like a little intimidated about that or felt uneasy. And people kept being like, stop it. That's silly. Like people want to hire you because you are the expert and your clients are happy and you are successful. And so don't even let that hold you back. So I think sometimes we like make up reasons in our mind why we should not do something. And like just getting outside perspectives is always so helpful. So balancing the two, I don't know if I do it very well, but I'm trying. I'm still focusing on, having that online, not persona, but like online content, but also making sure just in my daily life, like everywhere I'm going, events I'm doing, like the voice is all the same. Like, my values are the same in both places. The messages I'm putting out are the same in both places. The wording I'm using is the same.
That's so important. That's so impressive, because not a lot of people are able to stay kind of consistent as far as messaging and all the things across different platforms. Do you have something on the back end of things? Like, have you created like some type of brand voice guide that you share with your team? Yeah.
Yeah. Rachel Bozick helped me come up with that when I worked with her, which was like one of the most helpful things, is just all the, who I am. It's like, I don't know how to put that in words, but she was able to do research and say, well, this is what I see. And it's like, yeah, that resonates with me. Right. And so, yeah, we just had I don't know if I had a word for it, maybe a brand deck or something, but where we came up with over a few days, we created all the copy that I was going to use in different places. And I updated over time. little by little, but we pretty much use Canva and have all our stuff in there. But everything we came up with, it's just a few pages long, a couple pages long. It's like, we just say that all the time, everywhere, right?
And that's how you stay consistent.
It's easy.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, I love that. Emily, you've shared so many amazing things. I want to ask you one last question. A little off topic, but still kind of on. I'm very interested. What habit or practice you've implemented in your life or in your business that has been game-changing for you?
A habit? Is that what you said?
It could be habit. It could be a practice. It could be the thing that you started. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You have such great questions. So I don't ever quit. Like even if I'm out in the yard and I'm trying to like move a bunch of rocks, like I just had to do this. Like there was a delivery to our house. It was sitting out front too long. The landscapers weren't coming fast enough, and I needed to get that pile of rock, they were flagstones. A couple pallets of flagstone from our front yard to our courtyard. And, my husband helped me for a while and the kids helped me for a while, but it was still like there was some left and like mess. And it was like, I can't leave this. Like I have to finish it. And I think about that a lot. Like that's what's got me this far is even when I'm tired and like I could easily say I'm going to do this the next day. Like I don't have time the next day. I've got to finish it right then, clean it up, hose it off, like make it look clean and done. And so I think just like taking things to that next level that it's done. It's, I didn't leave some things hanging. I just made sure when I started something, I finished it and I like don't quit. And there's times I want to quit, but it's like something inside of me that I just won't quit. So.
Oh my God, I love it. What a good little tip. For me, it's the dirty dishes in the sink overnight. Like that's what I keep thinking about. As you were telling that story, I was like, oh man, you just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. And I get up and I shower and I get dressed and makeup's on before I ever leave my bedroom. And that's just carries through the rest of my day. Like I get up, I finish it, I leave, and I'm ready for the day. And I'm just ready to tackle it. Like, I don't know. Go get her.
I love it. Amazing. Oh my, I love this tip. I love it. I love what you shared. Emily, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here and kind of opening up and sharing so much into your business. Where can interior designers find you if they want to follow your journey or kind of just stay with your story and watch you grow?
I think Instagram's the best. So Urban Revival PHX, so the abbreviation for Phoenix, Urban Revival PHX. And that links you to our website, which I think our website's amazing. Amelia, man, I should like tag her.
So beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Did a revamp of our website. It's so pretty. I love it. And so check it out. She did an incredible job and you should hire her.
Amazing. I'm going to make sure to link everything that Emily mentioned in the show notes.
Thank you.
Emily, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Marketing for Designers. This is Masha Cohen signing off. See you next week.